Last time you did this, you didn't think about it once. Someone dimmed the lights. They carried a cake toward you with small fires burning on top of it. A room full of people sang the same 8-bar song to you. And then you leaned in, made a silent wish, and blew the flames out with your own breath. You were told this is ancient, Greek, 2,500 years old. A little candle of history, passed hand to hand, all the way down to you. That story is false, almost every part of it. And the real story isn't a celebration at all. It's a warning, one we forgot we were still performing. Here's the idea this whole channel is built on. A ritual is a fossil. It's the hardened shell of a fear that used to be alive. We keep doing the actions long after we've forgotten what they were for. The handshake, the toast, the moment of silence. Every one of them started as an answer to a fear, something that scared people badly enough to build a defense against it. And the birthday is the biggest fossil in your life. You have performed it every single year you've been alive. You have never once been told what it's actually made of. So here's the thesis, and I'm on the record. The birthday was never about celebrating you. It was about protecting you. The fire, the wish, the song, each one is a fossil of a separate fear. And by the end of this, you will never blow out a candle the same way again. Let's dig it up. Chapter 1. The Candle That Never Existed. Search "Why do we put candles on a birthday cake?" and you'll get the same answer everywhere. The ancient Greeks, it says, baked round cakes shaped like the moon for Artemis, their moon goddess. They lit them with candles to make them glow like moonlight. And they believed the smoke rising off the flames carried your wishes straight up to the gods. It's a beautiful story. Museums repeat it. Food sites repeat it. It has been copied so many times it now looks like a fact. There is just one problem. There is no ancient source for it. None. Go looking for the Greek who wrote this down, and you never find one. No historian, no inscription, no scrap of papyrus describes candles on a cake for Artemis. When you chase the claim back through every site that repeats it, they're all quoting each other in a circle. The trail doesn't lead to Athens. It leads to a dead end. Even National Geographic, tracking the same story, admits it flatly. There is no direct historical record of candles being placed on cakes to honor the gods. So where did the story come from? Someone, in the modern age, found a real ancient fragment, a mention of a round cake carried to Artemis on the night of the full moon, and quietly bolted candles and birthday wishes onto it, details that the original text never contained. A guess, dressed up as a memory, repeated until it hardened. That's the first thing to understand about your own birthday. The most famous fact about it was invented. But knock that story down, and a real question stands up behind it. Somebody, in the ancient world, did care about birthdays, cared about them enormously. It just wasn't who you were told. And when you find out who it was, and what they were really doing, the candle stops looking like a decoration. It starts looking like a shield. Because the people who took the birthday most seriously weren't celebrating a life. They were guarding one. The oldest, clear, sourced account of people throwing real birthday feasts doesn't come from Greece or Egypt. It comes from Persia. And it's written down by the man we call the father of history himself, Herodotus, around 440 BC. He says it plainly. Of all the days in the year, the one which they celebrate most is their birthday. And they went big. A wealthy Persian would have an ox, a horse, a camel, and a donkey roasted whole. The poor made do with smaller animals. But rich or poor, your birthday was the day the table overflowed. Nobody leads with this fact, because it ruins the tidy story where everything flows from Greece to Rome to us. But it's the best documented birthday in the ancient world, and it tells you something the fairy tale hides. The birthday started as a big deal, not a small one. Now go west, to Rome, and you find the part everyone skips. Because to a Roman, your birthday wasn't a party. It was a religious ceremony, and you were not the one being worshipped. We know this in detail because a Roman scholar named Censorinus sat down in the year 238 AD and wrote an entire book about birthdays. It's called De Die Natali, the birthday book, and he wrote it as a birthday gift for his patron. It is the single best ancient source on this ritual that exists. Here's what he describes. Every Roman was believed to be born with a personal god, a spirit assigned to you, and only you at the moment you left your mother's body. For a man they called it his genius, for a woman, her Juno. Censorinus describes this spirit as a god under whose protection each person lives from the moment he is born. A guardian who never leaves your side, not for a single instant. It takes you as you leave the womb. It stays with you all the way to the tomb. And on your birthday you made an offering to it. Wine, incense, flowers, a cake. Notice what's missing from that list. Blood. Every other Roman altar ran red with animal sacrifice, but not this one. On the birthday, the offering to your guardian spirit was deliberately bloodless. Because the whole point of the day was life, you did not spill blood on the altar of the thing keeping you alive. So sit with what the birthday actually was. Not a spotlight on the person. A quiet yearly transaction with an invisible protector. Thank you for getting me through another year. Please get me through the next one. And that reframes the fire completely. The flame wasn't a decoration to look pretty. Picture the world it came from. No medicine. No germ theory. No idea why a baby could be alive at dusk and dead by morning. A world that genuinely believed the day you were born was the day evil spirits could find you. In that world, the light and the noise and the crowd of people around you weren't a party. They were defense. You surrounded the vulnerable person with warmth and sound and pushed the dark back for one more year. That's the old fear, finally visible. The birthday is a fossil of a belief. That being alive was dangerous. And the day that marked your life was the day you were most exposed, which makes what happened next almost impossible to believe. Because for the next 1800 years, the most powerful institution in the Western world took one look at this ritual and tried to erase it. Here's where everything you assume flips. We think of the birthday as harmless, sweet, the one celebration nobody could possibly object to. For most of Christian history, it was the opposite. Celebrating your birthday was considered a sin, a pagan act, something only wicked people did. And the man who made that case most powerfully noticed something genuinely unsettling, a pattern you can check yourself in about 30 seconds. His name was Origen, an early Christian thinker writing in the 200s AD. He pointed out that in the entire Bible there are only 2 birthday parties, just 2. The first is Pharaoh's in the book of Genesis. At his birthday feast, Pharaoh has one of his servants, the chief baker, taken out and hanged. The second is King Herod's in the Gospels. At his birthday feast, a girl dances. The king makes a drunken promise, and the gift he hands his guest of honor is the severed head of John the Baptist carried in on a plate. 2 birthdays in all of Scripture, 2 executions, every celebration of a birth bought with someone's death. For Origen, that settled it. He wrote that no righteous person in Scripture ever celebrated their birthday, that only sinners rejoice over the day they were born. The holy, he said, didn't throw parties for their birth. Some of them cursed the day entirely. And this wasn't one cranky theologian. This became the position of the early church for 2 reasons that both trace straight back to fear. The first was that Roman guardian spirit from the last chapter. To a Christian, making an offering to your personal genius wasn't a quaint custom. It was worship of a false god, idolatry. The birthday was a pagan altar, and they wanted it torn down. The second fear is even sharper, and it's hiding inside a word. To celebrate your birth, you first have to record your birth, the exact day, ideally the hour. And in the ancient world, there was one main reason to write down the precise moment you were born: to cast your horoscope. The Greek word for it literally means the study of your birth. Your birthday was the raw material of astrology, the claim that the stars fixed your fate the instant you arrived. To the church, that was a direct rival to God. So the safest thing to do with a birth date was to not celebrate it, to not even keep it. And so early Christians did something that sounds bizarre until you understand it. They celebrated death days instead of birthdays. When a martyr was killed, the community marked the anniversary of their death, and they called it that person's birthday, their birth into heaven. One early bishop, Ambrose, put it exactly: "The day of our burial is our true birthday because we're finally set free from the prison of this life." That inversion is still with you and you never noticed. Every saint's feast day on the calendar, that's the day they died, not the day they were born. An entire calendar of backwards birthdays. Now you might think all of this is ancient history, safely dead. It isn't. There are millions of people alive right now who still refuse to celebrate birthdays for these exact reasons. Ask a Jehovah's Witness why, and they'll tell you, only 2 birthdays appear in the Bible, and both end in a killing. Birthday candles, they say, have pagan roots. It is a straight, unbroken line from one man's argument in the year 200 to a doctrine being taught this Sunday. So here's the real mystery of this whole story. If the birthday was condemned as pagan and sinful for 18 centuries, how on earth did it end up as the most innocent party we have? A cake, some kids, a song. Someone had to dig this ritual back up. And we know almost exactly when they did it, because one furious man wrote it down to make fun of it. The birthday cake with candles that you would actually recognize, a flame for every year of life, appears in the historical record in one specific place: Germany, the 1700s. And the earliest clear description we have survives for a wonderful reason. It was written by a hater. In 1746, a nobleman named Count Zinzendorf threw himself an enormous birthday celebration. Among his guests was a man who had soured on the Count's religious community and later published a tell-all pamphlet to expose them as ridiculous. In it, he described the cake, and he meant it as an insult. His words: "There was a cake as large as any oven could be found to bake it, and holes made in the cake according to the years of the person's age, everyone having a candle stuck into it and one in the middle." Read that again. A candle for each year of age, plus one extra in the center. That's your cake. That's the exact thing you did on your last birthday. Described by a man in 1746 who wrote it down as proof these people had lost their minds. Half a century later, we get it from a friendlier witness. In 1801, the poet Goethe described his own 52nd birthday. His cake was piled with so many candles, around 50 of them, that they had started to melt for lack of room. An adult cake, too crowded with years to fit the extra candles children got. Which tells you the children's version was already the standard by then. So this is the resurrection, the Roman offering, stripped of its pagan god, its fear drained out, reborn as a sweet little ritual for kids. The fire that once guarded a life against evil spirits was now just pretty. But 2 pieces of your birthday are younger and stranger than that. The first is the wish. The silent wish, made with your eyes closed, that you must not tell anyone or it won't come true, blown skyward on one breath. Everyone assumes it's the oldest, most magical part. It's the opposite. When you trace it, there's no ancient source, no origin at all. The candles show up in 1746 with no wish attached. A folklore account from the 1880s describes blowing them out but mentions no wish. The make-a-wish and keep-it-secret rule seems to be a 20th century invention. The most magical part of your birthday has the least history behind it. We basically made it up recently and agreed to believe it. And the second strange piece is this. For most of human history, the average person could not have celebrated their real birthday even if the church had allowed it, because they didn't know when it was. Think about what a birthday requires. It requires you to know the exact date you were born. For most people who ever lived, that information simply didn't exist. There were no birth certificates. Ordinary people were often illiterate, calendars were inconsistent, and the church recorded your baptism, days or weeks after birth, not the birth itself. In Catholic Europe, the day that actually mattered wasn't your birthday at all. It was your name day, the feast of the saint you were named after. The exact personal birthday, the one on your driver's license, only became a normal fact of life when governments started registering births. England began in 1837, Scotland in 1855, Ireland in 1864. The personal birthday, in other words, is partly a gift from an unlikely source, the paperwork of the modern state. It became knowable at the exact moment a bureaucracy started writing it down. So by the 1800s, the pieces are all on the table, a cake full of fire, a brand new secret wish, and for the first time, a whole population that actually knows the date. The fossil is fully reassembled, and that is precisely the moment someone realized the last missing piece, the song, could be turned into a machine that printed money for 80 years. The last piece of your birthday is the most sung song on earth, and until almost yesterday, you were technically not allowed to sing it for free. It started, of all places, in a kindergarten. In 1893, two sisters in Louisville, Kentucky wrote a little greeting tune for their class. Their names were Mildred and Patty Hill, a music teacher and a kindergarten teacher. But the words weren't happy birthday to you. They were good morning to all, a song for children to sing to each other at the start of the school day. Somewhere over the next 20 years, anonymously in classrooms, the words got swapped. Good morning became happy birthday. Nobody knows exactly who did it. It just spread, the way real folk songs do, for free, by mouth, belonging to everyone. And then a company noticed it and put a fence around it. Here's the worked example, because the numbers are the story. A publishing company registered a copyright tied to the song back in 1935. That copyright was later bought by the media giant Warner Chappell, and Warner Chappell enforced it. If you wanted Happy Birthday sung in a movie, a TV show, an ad, you paid. By 2008, that song was earning them around $2 million a year, roughly $5,000 a day for a tune two school teachers wrote to say good morning. That's why, for decades, you noticed something odd. Walk into a chain restaurant, and the staff never sang Happy Birthday. They sang some weird, clumsy, off-brand birthday jingle instead. That wasn't the restaurant being quirky. That was them dodging a licensing fee. The makers of the documentary Hoop Dreams wanted to film a real family singing it at a real birthday. They had to pay $5,000 for that one scene. The most spontaneous human moment, a family singing to a child, had a toll booth on it. It finally broke in a courtroom. A filmmaker charged $1,500 just to use the song, sued. And in 2015, a federal judge went through the paper trail and found the crack. Buried in an old songbook from the early 1920s, the lyrics had been printed with no copyright notice at all, which, under the law of the time, meant the words had been free, public domain, the entire time. Warner Chappell had been collecting money on a song it never actually owned. In 2016, it was over. The company paid $14 million back, and a court declared officially that Happy Birthday belongs to everyone. It had taken until 2016 for the birthday song to legally become yours. And here's the final, almost comic twist: the fossil colliding with the modern world. In 2017, food scientists actually tested what happens when you blow out your candles. When you lean over a cake and blow, you don't just extinguish flames, you spray it. Their measurement, blowing out the candles, left, on average, around 1,400% more bacteria on the frosting. Think about what that means. The fire began as an offering, smoke and light, lifted up to the spirit that was keeping you alive. 2,000 years later, we know a blown-out candle is mostly a way to spray your own breath down onto the cake everyone's about to eat. A prayer turned into a health hazard, that we perform anyway. Because we've completely forgotten it was ever a prayer. So let's put the fossil back together. Whole. The candle wasn't Greek. It was a Roman offering to a personal god. A shield of fire and noise, raised against the spirits that were thought to hunt you on the one day you were most exposed. The church spent 1800 years calling that shield a sin. Recording your birth, they said, was idolatry, was astrology, was worship of the wrong thing. So they celebrated death instead, and millions still do. Then an 18th century German household dug the ritual back up. As a cake for children, its fear drained out, and we bolted on a secret wish we'd invented ourselves. Finally, a company fenced off the song and charged us to sing it, until a judge in the year 2016 handed it back. That's the verdict. Your birthday is not a celebration that was passed down to you intact. It is a fossil, a Roman prayer, buried by fear, dug up as a toy, and sold back to you as a song. You perform all of it, perfectly, every year, and you were never told what a single piece of it meant. Which leaves one question I can't answer for you. If the most familiar ritual in your life, the fire, the wish, the song, turned out to be a fossil of a fear you'd completely forgotten, what else are you doing every year without knowing why? That's what this channel is for. And there's no ritual with a darker buried fear than the one we light up every December. Watch the next dig, the Christmas that was illegal, where we find out why an entire government once made this holiday a crime. First rites, where every ritual began.